3 simple words in The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon Season 2 have changed the titular character for however long he remains part of AMC's post-apocalyptic universe. With half of the Eiffel Tower in the background and centuries of romance in the air, love has been brewing ever since Daryl Dixon stepped foot on French shores. Pairing Norman Reedus' rugged protagonist with Clemence Poes's no-nonsense nun always looked like it would inevitably erupt into sparks of passion, but The Walking Dead has played the long game, with Daryl Dixon Season 1 ending on a more ambiguous note. Daryl and Isabel's story becomes considerably less ambiguous in Season 2. As the Union prepares to find out if Lauren is immune to the zombie virus, Daryl and Isabel plan their counterattack, taking the opportunity to admit their feelings and lock lips upon the backdrop of a stunning Mont Saint-Michel. Nevertheless, what comes after is far more important for Daryl Dixon Season 3 and beyond. Captured by the Union and occupying neighboring cells, Isabel quietly whispers to Daryl, "I love you." Isabel admitting she loves Daryl makes her more than just another love interest. Things are getting serious in Daryl Dixon Season 2. Daryl, Norman Reedus, and Isabel, Clemence Poesy, kissing in The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon Season 2 Episode 2. Isabel is not Daryl Dixon's first romance in The Walking Dead. Daryl began a short-lived affair with a survivor named Leah and flirted incessantly with Lauren Ridloff's Connie during the main show's latter seasons. It has also been suggested that Daryl's friendships with Beth and Carol hid undertones of romance that went unfulfilled. Isabel's I Love You in Daryl Dixon Season 2, however, immediately cements her as the most serious love interest Daryl has had since The Walking Dead began. Carol and Beth were always just speculative Daryl love interests, Leah was barely more than a hookup, and nothing materialized with Connie. What Daryl and Isabel have found in France is actual love, and that totally changes the complexion of Daryl's story. If Isabel survives long enough to join the Commonwealth, Daryl will no longer be able to cut the same lone wolf figure he perfected across The Walking Dead. Daryl will be closer to Rick Grimes in terms of creating a family unit, sacrificing the freedom to spend months alone in the woods. That shift shakes the fundamentals of Daryl's characterization to their core. The strength of Daryl Dixon's French connection becomes no less significant if Isabel ultimately dies before reaching the United States. Leah's death had a minimal impact upon Daryl, not least because he was the one who shot her. As such, The Walking Dead has never properly shown Daryl dealing with a woman he loves dying, and losing Isabel could trigger a transformative process for the long-haired protagonist. Daryl mourning over Isabel could look similar to what Rick went through after Laurie died, or what Maggie experienced after Negan murdered Glenn. Neither character was quite the same again, and Daryl, having finally found love in Daryl Dixon Season 2, may be about to wade through the same ocean of grief if Isabel does not survive. Why Daryl doesn't say he loves Isabel back? Daryl has a strong excuse to stay quiet. Isabel, Clemence Poesy, looking away from Daryl, Norman Reedus, in The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon Season 2 Episode 2. When Isabel tells Daryl she loves him, she utters the phrase under her breath and in French, meaning Daryl almost certainly doesn't understand, and may not even register that his cellmate is speaking. The larger question is why Isabel chooses to say I love you secretly, and in a way she knows Daryl cannot respond to. Simple factors such as a fear of being rejected or wanting to wait for a more appropriate moment must be considered, but a stronger explanation is that Isabel chooses not to burden Daryl with the knowledge of her real feelings. As Daryl describes the fireflies and the beautiful day-to-day normality of The Walking Dead's Commonwealth, he sounds convinced Isabel will experience it for herself soon enough. Isabel appears less certain, almost conceding that the Union has won and escape is impossible. Isabel perhaps feels that if something bad is about to happen, it would be unfair to speak her truth. Should the worst transpire, Daryl would feel even more heartache knowing Isabel loved him. By hiding the true depth of their affection, however, Isabel can spare Daryl some degree of pain as they both sit perched upon the Union's chopping block. There is, tragically, one flaw in Isabel's thinking. If Daryl hears Isabel mutter I love you in French but doesn't understand it, he might eventually figure out the translation later, possibly after another character says the exact same thing.